Alright, so staying with Marvel, but moving on to the Fox cinematic universe. There was a lot of rumors last week that the deal between Fox and Channing Tatum was going to go belly up, that there were some issues over the contract. That's all been squashed. He's signed on. It's official. We have Channing Tatum signed on to play Gambit for, we're not sure how long it is, but it'll be a multi-movie kind of contract. How do we feel about a Gambit standalone movie?
Gambit is your side character, but he is a very well-known side character and accompaniment to the X-Men. Yeah. That said, a solo movie of Gambit, he has a very rich history. If you read into the comics, you'll find that he has a very dark past, a very lengthy dark past, and if they choose to replicate this and resurrect that darker history, it wouldn't be that necessarily all that comical. It would be funny to be, because he's just, that's the kind of character that he is. But he has that real dark past. You'd expect in this movie for like at least a good 70% of it, 60% of it, he's going to be edgy, duplicitous. He will kill, he will murder, he will steal, and
he's out for himself.
He's out for himself, but he's also part of a league of thieves and murderers. He is in league with the kind of dregs of society, and that brings in New Orleans, and that brings this whole seedy past. If you can bring that to life with some of the mutants that he ran with at that time, even though there were very few of them, that would be a very interesting story. Now, does everyone watch it? Maybe, just because the name Gambit has a little bit of clout, and just enough. Now, here we're using Channing Tatum. Okay, maybe the name causes the draw. Personally, I don't have anything against Channing Tatum. I just think he has a very all-American look that you don't want for the character of Gambit. He's just not the right look for it. Acting talent, perhaps, but I just don't like the look of necessarily Channing Tatum for a Gambit. Can a story exist on its own? I think it could passively.
If you were a kid, okay, and you're watching Fox Kids or whatever, and they said, okay, we have a Gambit cartoon, would you watch it? Would you? If I was give it a chance.
But if you're asking me, I would say yes, because I like Gambit. I think he's a cool character.
But it would be like you know, there's the Wildcats cartoon, and then there's a Drifter series. Would you watch a Drifter series? Like, would that be even interesting? Like, because he's more of a sport character. Drifter is cool because he's with the Wildcats and whatnot. And, and he's cool because he's with X-Men and he has like this seedy kind of undertone. But it's like,
but I mean, by the same token, Wolverine is part of the X-Men. He's a much more principal figure, but he has a spin-off of side comics that became successful because of interest, because his character is interesting. Now, does he have the same following, the same pull? No, obviously not.
Yeah.
But Gambit, because of his nature, because of the nature of his abilities, it's very engaging, very interesting. And when you actually read his past, if you were to see a trailer, I guarantee you, if you were to see a trailer and it was accurately done on his past, you'd be like, oh, that's...
It's like, from what you're saying, it definitely sounds interesting.
There's a cult aspect to it, right? So it's like very dark. It's very...
But again, from more of the casual fan's perspective, and that's who I'm kind of representing here on this, it's like the only introduction I've had with him is through the X-Men universe. And that's the only. But it really is though. But like, I'm speaking as more of the majority than the minority.
That's such an atrocity that.
Yeah, and because of that though, it's like, does he have the clout? Not just from that alone. Not really. Not at this point in time. And then you've got. And with Channing Tatum, like again, like I haven't seen Foxcatcher, so like that was supposed to be his breakout like acting role. So I still have a very kind of like the view I have of him is from his like lesser movies where he's kind of a supporting actor, or he has a sidekick with him. That all being said, like, is this a movie that I'm excited about? Not really, not right now. And like the more I hear about it, like you speak passionately of it, and that does it piques my interest. But at this point, it's
I'm good with Channing Tatum. I mean, he's shown that he can do action. He's great in the action comedy, especially the 21 and 22 Jump Street.
Yeah.
And like you said, Foxcatcher, you can see him playing a dark side kind of thing. Right? where I struggle is when I think back to Gambit, the really only influence I have is from the '90s X-Men cartoon. Always kind of flirting with Rogue, helping her out, and then the cartoons version of Days of Future Past, where Bishop goes back in time to stop an assassination, and it's Gambit who's framed to be the assassin.
Yeah.
Other than that, I just don't know how deep it's going. But from what you're saying, it sounds interesting. But is it... rumor has it that Fox has budgeted this, and again, this is all just rumors. $150 million budget.
I don't know why the hell
Yeah.
it's $150 million because a Gambit movie doesn't need.
Again, it's rumored, but
Yeah, even
everything you're telling me
Yeah.
sounds more like, an Ocean's 11 or like a dark Ocean's 11.
No, he used to live in abject poverty in his youth. They lived in the woods like outlaws, like Robin Hood.
Yeah.
They were in.
That's what I got. I got more of a Robin Hood feel
extreme
when you're talking
depth
about
of
it.
poverty, and there they learned to be street tough, to be gritty, merciless, uncaring, removed, running around in the night, and you know what I mean. It was
Like the city of
Emotionally
God. almost.
detached.
yeah. Now picture like the
Lord of the
mutant city of Genosha with all kinds of with the atrocities of Genosha, like kind of like that, but just it's that kind of destroyed.
It's like
Lord of the Flies kind of society, right? That's where he was coming from.
So if it came out that this was going to be like a $30 to $50 million kind of movie, then I would be kind of into it, because now they'd be going more like City of God, like what you're saying. But as soon as you throw on $150 million onto a budget, now I'm just imagining CGI crapfest. Just the most ridiculous scenes of fucking cards,
right. And
going everywhere.
And the thing is, you probably wouldn't even need that, because if you really wanted to do the best rendition of the background of this character, it's gonna be like a Tim Burton kind of feel, like dark. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's gonna be
Pan's
dark.
Labyrinth kind of dark. It's like almost like you're seeing another world. Like you're going in the underground and you're seeing things. Like I remember, like the Assassins and Thieves Guilds. There was this one episode of X-Men where it's like they had to pay tribute to like this goddess, and if they don't pay their tithe, like somebody would die. Or
it was very dark.
It was very.
He comes from a very messed up past, and if they were to bring that to light, it would be an interesting film. It's just that the average person, or if it's, and he's not even the average person. He knows a lot about everything. It's just that he doesn't follow Marvel comics as closely, and for him, even Gambit is not.
It's almost. Oh, sorry.
And what you're saying though, like I said, it sounds very interesting, but it sounds like it would have to be done almost like a cult movie, like you were saying, a smaller budget, keep it really gritty.
Yep.
Grit is what I'm seeing when you're as I'm envisioning grit when you guys are talking about the character. I'm envisioning him very like that kind of Louisiana's it's got such a character.
Yeah.
It's steeped in voodoo. And
that's it. That's the stuff. That's
you know
what
what I
I'm
mean. So
talking
now
about.
you've got voodoo, but also like that voodoo versus Christianity. Like it's got that both are so entwined in that swamp. So that you could make a really good film based on that, and it's like even how like they've done it in a much lighter aspect with True Blood, but that's the kind of thing that I'm kind of envisioning.
You know what?
Even
like a Dusk Till Dawn.
Yes.
You know how it's like you think it's going one direction, and it's like holy crap, what the hell is going on?
There's something here.
You guys saying this reminds me of something. Remember when the Wolverine was in development? I think Darren Aronofsky was attached to it at the beginning to do that.
I thought it was Batman for Aronofsky.
Well, he's jumped on things and then takes his ball and goes home. So many damn things, right?
Sorry, Dan.
So the story of the Wolverine, I mean, we were all ready for, okay, he's going to be, in Japan, studying as, more of a samurai kind of story. And that's what we got for, 3/4 of the movie, and then the end,
it just
giant robot.
Yeah. It's just
the last thing I want to see is a nice, good, gritty thriller with some voodoo aspects.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, he fights throwing cards at a giant robot.
Yeah.